For tickets and showtimes, go to fathomevents.com.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Each year, TCM dedicates some of our programming in a particular month to a cultural group or minority. And in years past, we focused on African Americans, Asians, Latinos, and Arabs. This year, I'm pleased to say, our emphasis is on Jewish people. And we're calling the series The Projected Image, the Jewish Experience on Film, a way of showing how Jewish people have been portrayed on film through the years. And with me to put this particular series in context is an expert on Jewish, Yiddish, and Israeli cinema. He's an author and a noted film educator, Dr. Eric Goldman. Welcome, Eric. Can I call you Eric?
Please.
Okay.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you, Robert.
Nice to have you here. Well, Eric has written 2 books about Jewish history and film, including his most recent one, which is called The American Jewish Story Through Cinema. So he's the perfect one to guide us through the films we're going to be showing over the next 5 weeks. Eric not only is here to help me introduce the films, he also helped to program the whole festival. And we begin with the 1927 film, The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson. Now, why this movie? Why are we starting with this movie?
Oh, I think it's a great way to start. First of all, it just ushered in the talking picture. But also, here you have this important film on a Jewish subject with Hebrew singing. I mean, it's kind of a funny, strange act of history. You know, the fact that all of a sudden you would have the story about a cantor and a cantor's son who doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps going off. It's really the story of the American in the 1920s, the immigrant who wants more than just staying within his immigrant or her immigrant community.
Well, let me ask you something. We all know about The Jazz Singer, of course. Were there a lot of films on this subject being done around that time? Was this an oddity, or was this a kind of a regular thing?
It was a regular thing in that there were a number of films being made about ethnic groups. You know, the Irish and the Jews living side by side, and the son of one falling in love with the daughter of the other. But what's odd about this is that it concentrates on a young person's desire to step away, to move out of that community that holds him back. And that's why it's such an important film. It's really old versus new. The old world versus what America represents and holds for that next generation.
It's interesting because today, so often people want to keep their identity and their nationality, but that wasn't always so.
That wasn't always so. The actual original story written by Samson Raphaelson, who went on to be a wonderful screenwriter,
right,
was to talk about that pull out of the community, but in the end, the child returns and stays within the community. The Warner Brothers didn't like that type of ending. They really felt that America in the 1920s was about moving out, leaving behind whatever kept them from succeeding in America, and seeking that America had all of this to offer.
Interesting. So explain a little to those who aren't aware of it about blackface, who might be offended by that in this film.
It's controversial, and there are some scholars who look at this and say, what a terrible thing. I think we need to look at it within the context of the time in which it was made. This was a very common form of entertainment.
Right. Minstrels and all of that
Minstrels.
were a big deal.
And Jolson never himself was, he never was a minstrel, but he utilized this,
right,
this very contemporary.
And was terribly popular.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's see the film. Here it is, a movie basically a silent film, but also the first feature-length motion picture to have synchronized dialogue. Here from 1927, The Jazz Singer.